You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
National collapse imminent as Trump reaches tipping point. Analysis based on an article by Nick Hilden. Trump didn't break the system. He is using it exactly as designed. The power was never hidden. Max Burns's piece uses the founders as a warning label, and the warning is real enough. Trump is not some accidental anomaly drifting through an otherwise healthy republic. He is a president using the powers of the office, with Congress yielding and the courts widening the runway. That is the story. The republic is not being threatened from outside its institutions. It is being hollowed out through them. The source knows where the power is. The article gets one central fact right. The decisive actor is the presidency. Trump has the authority, the platform, the pardon power, and the willingness to use both punishment and reward as tools of loyalty. Burns points to Trump pardoning criminal political allies, fraudsters, and violent insurrectionists. That is not ceremonial favoritism. It is executive protection for people who served the same project of power. The real failure is institutional cowardice. The deepest indictment in the source is not Trump alone. It is Congress. Burns notes that lawmakers have not reclaimed their constitutional prerogatives from what he calls a blatantly imperial presidency. That is the actual scandal. The legislature was built to resist executive domination, and instead it has chosen fealty, drift, or paralysis. If the executive overreaches and Congress does nothing, the problem is not merely an ambitious president. It is a political class that has decided its own comfort matters more than its institutions' function. The courts are not neutral background. The article also nods at the Supreme Court's recent decisions expanding presidential power. That matters because judicial doctrine is not separate from political reality. It is one of the mechanisms that makes overreach durable. When a court enlarges executive authority and Congress refuses to answer, the constitutional system stops acting like a check and starts acting like an alibi. The founders are being used correctly, and still not enough. Burns is right to invoke the founders' fear of demagogues, resentment politics, and self-protecting executives. But the larger lesson is harsher than nostalgia permits. The founders' warnings were not preventive magic. They were an admission that constitutional text alone cannot restrain a political class determined to surrender. Trump's rise did not expose a flaw in the rhetoric of liberty. It exposed how quickly institutions that praise liberty will accommodate its erosion when power is personally convenient. What this story really reveals: this is the pattern. Authoritarian politics does not arrive wearing a mask of obvious illegality. It advances through legal forms, institutional obedience, and elite normalization. A president consolidates power. Congress declines to resist. Courts expand the envelope. Commentators reach for historical metaphor while the machinery keeps moving. The danger is not that democracy vanishes in a single dramatic gesture. It is that republic language is left standing long after Republican power has been surrendered. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Ryan. Thanks for listening.